Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. Jamaree Salyer will be starting at left tackle this week against the Houston Texans. Now, this was a move that was came a little bit as a surprise. You know, personally, I did not think that Jamaree Salyer was ready to start in the NFL just based off of everything that I read. You know, training camp reports, and a little bit of his play in the preseason as well, too. I think he struggled in some areas. I think he struggled against some of the quicker pass rushers. But, you know, nonetheless, he will be starting at left tackle. Honestly, I like the move. I think this was a move that had to be made. I said during the live stream right after the game, if Storm Norton comes out and starts against Houston, this franchise, this coach, this team cannot be taken seriously because we know what happened. Storm Norton came in relief of Jamaree Salyer after the injury happened and immediately gave up pressures. I think he gave up a pressure pretty much every other snap that he played. I think that's what it averaged out to. So obviously that's not good. You know, you have Justin Herbert, who is your franchise quarterback with injured ribs. You know, you obviously have to protect him. If you have any chance going forward, you have to protect him. You have to protect the franchise asset, and you have to protect the signal caller, right? This Charger team is only going to go as far as Justin Herbert takes it, right? No matter who is on defense, you know, no matter who's in the backfield, such and such, this Charger team will only go as far as Justin Herbert takes it. So this move needed to be made, and I'm happy that they made the move. You know, you cannot, honestly, I don't think you can get any worse than Storm Norton at left tackle. He was obviously a huge question mark last season at right tackle, but the left tackle position is just so much more pressure, right? Especially for, you know, Herbert. He's a right-handed quarterback. That is his blind side. So you have to protect your blind side. And it was imperative that they made this move. But again, you know, is Jamaree Salyer ready for this spot? We don't know. The only answer to that question will be on Sunday when they suit up and when they go out there and play. That will be really the only answer. Now, this is not a great Texans team, right? Defensively, they're not great. Offensively, they're not great. So if there was a game for, you know, Jamaree Salyer to be in, if there was a game on the schedule that I can pick for him to be in, this would be the game. This would be the game against Houston, especially after the first, you know, 3 weeks, right? We're starting to see, you know, what teams are, you know, even if teams are not at their, you know, their peak now, we're starting to see what teams have potential. We're starting to see what teams are, you know, going to be competing for the #1 draft pick. And Houston is definitely in that mix. They're going to be competing for the #1 draft pick. Hell, they might even get it. So I think this is a game that you make this move. It is, you know, it's a risky move regardless, right? This is the NFL. And, you know, technically there's no easy opponents on your schedule. But, you know, the way that Houston has been playing the first 3 weeks, I would pick this game for Jamaree Salyer to start, and I'm glad that he is. Now, Jamaree Salyer is a guy that has a lot of experience on the offensive line. He played pretty much all 5 positions at Georgia. If you watch college football, I'm an avid watcher of college football. This guy impressed me a lot, and I did the video right after the draft when the Chargers drafted him. I thought he was a draft steal, a 6th rounder. I thought he was easily a 3rd, 4th round lineman, easily. And I think, you know, multiple draft experts had him at like 3rd or 4th round grades. So the Chargers they did get a steal, you know, regardless if he succeeds at left tackle or not. In the absence of Jamaree Salyer, the Chargers got a steal. They got a steal with him, and I think he's somebody, you know, he has a lot of experience, and I think that is the most important thing, right? When everybody looks at prospects, you know, how tall they are, right? How long their arms are, what their 40 time is, and you look at all of these things, all of these measurables and all of this stuff. And Jamaree Salyer, his measurables are, you know, they're just average, right? They don't blow anybody away as far as alignment goes, right? His measurables don't look anything like Jamaree Salyer's measurables, but you cannot substitute experience really for on the offensive line. And I think that is his biggest attribute, especially coming out of the SEC, playing in the SEC, especially playing in the SEC over the past 4 seasons. This guy has experience against a lot of guys who are in the NFL. You know, playing at Georgia, he played against the guys in the NFL. He played against and dominated Will Anderson. Will Anderson is probably going to be a top 5 pick, right? He's the Alabama defensive end, right? Very, very big name in college football. He's going to be a top 5 pick this year. Jamaree Salyer dominated him last year in the national championship game. He dominated him, and he allowed Stetson Bennett to go down the field and make plays. Like, he really, really did his thing. He dominated him, and then the game before that, he dominated the 2nd overall pick of this year's draft, Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. He dominated him all game long. So you cannot substitute that type of experience at Georgia. And I've said things about Georgia, the Georgia football. They produce NFL players. They had a bunch of guys drafted in this year's draft. I think 10 of them were drafted in this year's draft, mostly all from defense. I think all of them were from defense. All these guys can play. They're ready for the NFL. They're NFL ready. And if you have, you know, a guy who played every single lineman position at Georgia, you can probably think that he will be ready for the NFL as well, too. He's lining up against really blue chip prospects week in and week out, every Saturday, right? Georgia really, you know, except for the really, you know, FBS or FCS schools, the weak schools they play against, the SEC schedule is full of guys. It's full of NFL guys, right? You're going up against, you know, really the top of the top, right? And even the guys from schools who don't compete, right? You're looking at the Tennessees or the Floridas or, you know, the LSUs or whatever. The teams that are not winning the national championships, they still have a bunch of guys who are 5-star recruits and a bunch of guys who are going to make the NFL, right? Either get drafted or, you know, if they fall, they're going to, you know, make the team as a undrafted free agent. Just talent all across the board in the SEC. You cannot substitute that. Jamaree Salyer has that. You cannot substitute it. You cannot take it away from him. And I would venture to say that he probably faced a lot more difficult challenges playing against Alabama than he will, you know, go up against playing the Houston Texans this week. I would just say that personally, right? Just as an individual matchup, right? Individually. Obviously, NFL players are better than college players. But some of these college players, they have really high ceilings, extremely, extremely high ceilings. So if you are able to really dominate physically in the SEC, I think if you can really put something together in the NFL, right? And now it doesn't just stop there. Obviously, you have to be coached up properly, right? You have to get used to the speed of the NFL game. The game in general is just a lot faster. And that's something that every rookie has to adjust to, right? Some guys adjust to it right away. You know, it takes some guys a little longer to get used to that, right? So that's obviously something he's going to have to adjust to. But just as far as instincts go, and when it comes down to just doing your job, right? Doing your assignment. Nobody's saying that this has to look good. He doesn't have to play the way Rashawn Slater plays. He doesn't have to make it look as easy as Rashawn Slater plays, because the way that Rashawn Slater plays, he makes it look easy. He neutralizes the best pass rushers in this league on a weekly basis. Really just impressive. Absolutely impressive the way that Rashawn Slater plays. Jamaree Salyer doesn't have to do that, though. His degree of difficulty is not up there. He just has to do his job, right? Keep that left side. Just keep it clean. Just keep it clean. As far as run blocking goes, he is much, much better than Storm Norton. I believe you can run to the left side with Jamaree Salyer because he was a part of a really good Georgia line that had a very, very good running game. Georgia Bulldogs had an extremely good running game. They had a fifth-year walk-on quarterback, so they relied heavily on the running game. Jamaree Salyer was really a steadfast player in the running game, so he did what he had to do. And, you know, I think he can just really put something together. I really, really do. I really believe it. I think he is going to do well, especially if he gets his feet wet against Houston. I think, you know, he can parlay this into something really good. Again, he's not Rashawn Slater. He's not going to make everything look like Rashawn Slater. He's not the athlete that Rashawn Slater is, but I think he can get the job done. I really do. I believe in him. I have way more faith in him than I do Storm Norton. Obviously, Storm Norton is he's a practice squad player. Let's just be real. You know, I tried not to, you know, really pile on him, especially last season, but he's a guy that is not, you know, he's not getting better, so he's getting worse. And you know, at that point, he shouldn't be in the game. And, you know, to be honest, he shouldn't be on this team. But it is what it is, right? So Jamaree Salyer will start. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I think he's going to be a really, really good rookie. I think he's going to get the job done. And I think he's going to do enough so that the Chargers are able to do what they need to do, right, through the air and on the ground. I think he's good enough to do that. So that is my take on Jamaree Salyer. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. Thank you so much for all the support. Shout out to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow with more content. And until next time, thank you so much.